Should you buy a house now or wait until the interest rates go down? This is exactly what we're going to talk about today. And with me, I have Ryan Manley, who's a local lender here in Rochester, Minnesota, and he's going to help us answer this question. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Doing good, Joe. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Good. Let's get into this topic and let's talk about, what should home buyers do right now? Should they buy? Should they wait?
Yeah, this is the biggest question that I'm getting right now is should I wait till rates go down? How does that impact me buying a house? Well, I think a couple things to make note. One is we're probably never going to see 3 to 4% interest rates ever again in our lifetime. So those are gone. I do think we'll see rates sometime in 2023 or 24 get to the mid to maybe low fives. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But I think the biggest thing with interest rates is actually using the higher rates to your advantage. We've seen a lot of volatility lately with interest rates.
Right.
And when the media starts talking about higher interest rates, you can actually get better negotiating when buying a home at that point.
Right. And I've definitely noticed that, people are starting to now get used to that, 6%. I guess now that they've gone up now to more like 6.5 or 6.7%. But I feel like people are starting to kind of get used to that. We did see home prices shift and kind of go down. Like here in Rochester, the median sale price last summer was like 330. Last month in February, we saw that they went up to now from like 270s to like 305. So we're starting to kind of recover from that shift that we saw. So what are some other things that we should kind of keep in mind when trying to decide buying now or later?
Yeah, I think the main thing to focus on is your monthly payment,
Okay.
not be so focused on the interest rate. Interest rates change over time. If they go down, you can always refinance. But main thing is if you can get in a house you want with a payment that you're comfortable with the current market rate, still a great time to buy it. I think the interesting thing we've seen over the last couple months is when news starts to come out that rates are going up, because we were as low as 5.5 about a month ago. So you're starting to see on different news outlets that the rates are starting to go up. And this is impacting buyers. So they get scared and say, okay, rates are higher, we're going to back off. So there's less buyers in the market at that point, which is when you can really take advantage of negotiating with sellers as a buyer when there's less offers or less buyers in the market at that point. So take advantage of the higher rates when they're going up. It's a great time to look as long as the payment's within the budget that you're comfortable with.
Absolutely. And I think, with the volatility in interest rates, I think sellers need to be careful when they accept an offer because, if you're looking at a home in the 300,000 and they got pre-approved a couple months ago or even like a month ago, when let's say rates were at 6%, now they're at 6.7 or whatever, it's possible that buyer may not qualify, or maybe if they did, they might not be comfortable. So that could be kind of a bad surprise to get as a buyer. So I think on the seller side, sellers have to do a little or have their agents do more due diligence when looking at pre-approvals and on the buyer side, representing buyers, just make sure that your buyers understand that, as rates kind of fluctuate, making sure they're comfortable with that payment. So something that I've kind of noticed or think that
Yeah,
people should be doing. Yeah.
one thing I always do, which I think is good practice, no matter who the lender is anytime I've got a buyer that's looking at a house that they're really interested in, we'll have them send me the address, and then we'll work up the numbers based on that day's rates, so they know exactly what the payment is and they're getting into, so that they can confidently write an offer on that property.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's always smart to do. And a lot of times sellers or the listing agents want to see that the pre-approval has the address of that house so that they know that, at least the lender has reviewed the numbers or, whatnot. So, um,
Absolutely.
did you have some examples for us today, Ryan?
Yeah, let's take a look at a scenario. I just want to kind of point out what the payment difference is. And in
Okay.
this example, we're going to be looking at a $450,000 house.
Okay.
Now, in the first column, we're looking at buying now. So let's say we can get the house for 450,000 with 5% down, which would be 22,500. Now, let's take a look at an example that we're still looking at that same property. Interest rates have gone down, and now that price has actually gone up on that house because rates are down. There's more buyers involved. So we're going to say that that house price is now 470.
Okay.
So in the first example, loan amount's 427.5. Buy later, you'd be looking at 446.5. Interest rate in the first example, buy now, we're going to use 6.5,
Sure.
buy later at 6%. So the buy now, 2,702, buy later 2,677. So there's not a large difference, and we can probably negotiate better on the buy now option when there's less buyers involved. So we maybe get closing costs paid by the seller, or even rate buy downs by the seller.
Right. So basically, the what is it, $20,000 difference, in price. It's your payment is going to be about the same, even though you have a lower rate here, 6% versus 6.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can always refinance, and so if we get that 6.5 down to 5.5%, let's say, I mean, that's big savings, and you're going to have a lower loan amount than if you wait till the rates come down and home prices go up. So I just think it's tough with inventory right now. If rates do go down, I think there's no option but for the prices on homes to go up.
Yeah, that's I've definitely noticed that when rates were a little lower, then you start seeing more interest. And I mean, there's still the real estate market here locally in Rochester is cyclical, like in most places, right? So this time of the year, demand's gonna go up no matter what. Even if rates were at like 8%, there's still gonna be demand. Obviously, probably lower than what we're seeing now, but this time of the year, the demand's gonna be higher. So that's to be expected. But I feel like rates within the next 3 years will be less than they are now. As inflation gets under control, here in the U.S. So if you can find something like you've been saying, Ryan, you can afford a home that you like, go for it. Because if you wait, when rates go down, it's just gonna push prices higher, and that's a risk that you take if you wait, right?
You can never time the market. It's impossible. And again, we have to get back to focus on the payment and not so much on the rates.
Yeah, and I also think like people are getting used to the rates we're seeing now. So like the 3s and 4s, that those were like outlier rates. I mean, that's probably not gonna see that again. So
none of us want to be cooped up in our homes for another 2 years. So hopefully we never hit 3 to 4% again.
Yeah, I guess you should never say never, but it probably won't be for a while. And I'm a big believer in you can't time the market. So if you're a home buyer or looking to buy or start the process, or even you just want to ask more questions, feel free to reach out to Ryan or myself. We love to educate our buyers. We want to make sure they're comfortable and confident when shopping here in Rochester. We'll have both of our contact information on the video description below, and let us know in the comments what other questions do you have about the market. And we appreciate your time here, and thanks for watching.